true indeed with you, Holy Circle Gaming. Thank you for rocking with your boy like always. Definitely a privilege and an honor to do as such. You see what we're doing, Madden 16, coaching myself, draft champions, showing you what I've been working on across the stages, my thought processes and whatnot. So let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, so here's my draft champion squadron that I'm working with. Offensively, Demaryius Thomas, Robert Griffin III, Todd Gurley, James Jones, Vernon Davis, Frisco fans stand up. Let's get into it. Let's go ahead and transition over defensively on the side of things. Eric Berry, Nelson over there, Julius Peppers, of course. You got Ty Law. And what we're going to do in this particular one is actually give you a view mid-game, end of the third quarter leading into the fourth. And this is where we're going to take place to show some of the coaching and my thought processes here. So we have my opponent driving with the ball right now. So he was actually doing some good things. He hit me with a screen on the previous play prior to in the middle of the third. And then he goes ahead and docks me up. I was sitting in coverage, and I thought I had dialed him up the right way, sent the blitz a little bit, and he still dotted me up right in front of my coverage. So I had sent the nickel blitz too. I thought it worked, it didn't, and so he's feeling really good about himself at this juncture in time. So it's really crazy like how everything was going. So I went with the same identical play on this one, and I should have had the pick, but it was good that at least got the stop as opposed to just, I really wish I had the pick, but the stop was just as good. Same play, same dial up. It just worked to a better effect because he changed his play, I didn't, and it actually worked out, sending the Heat just the same. And so what I was looking to see what he was going to do, because I didn't think he was going to be more pass happy, because he's been real successful with play actions and things of that magnitude. And so what was going on was I didn't know how to really play him. So I just kind of drifted off in coverage and got basically a coverage sack right there. So it was good. I sent a little bit of heat, not too much, but he was trying to run something up under. It didn't work out for him. And so it was actually really good that I actually dialed up something on the coverage sack, you know, played coverage safe, and then sent somebody in just to make sure I got him down, because when you're playing against somebody with Cam Newton, you never know how they're going to operate. And so he got me on spread right now, and actually he did something really smart, because I thought he was going to throw it out deep, and he didn't. He actually threw it out in the flats, so it was actually a really smart conservative play. And that's his junction right now. It's 4th and 2. You know, it's 7-0. You know, I figured he would have went ahead and took the points at this juncture. But, you know, it's crazy because my guess would be maybe he takes the 3 and maybe gives himself a chance to play some D. But I was like, some people like to get cute, and they like to try to do fakes and maybe try to get the first down. So I set up just in case he did the fake, because I wasn't going to like dilly-dally with him. And that's exactly what he did. Did the fake, threw it right in coverage, and I was off to the races. If I was really paying more attention, I could have shuck around that dude and actually ran it in for a touchdown. But even then, you know, got that Ty Law, listen and watch. And Ty Law made that little pick because I got him pressured because he didn't know what to do. Normally, you audible out of those plays if you know a person's set up to stop a play, especially stop a fake. He didn't, made a mistake, and you know, I got the ball going the other way. So I'm thinking it's towards the end of the third. I got a 7-0 lead. If I get another 3, at least a good 7 is 2 possessions. I should be able to hold this game down towards the end of the game. And so what I did, I ran my toss play. I tried to shake him a little bit. If I wouldn't have ran into my player after the spin, I would have actually got more. But it was a good play. Good solid run, you know, 3 yards, whatnot. Definitely worked out to be perfectly fine. So everything's going in motion. You know, basically going into the fourth quarter, 7-point lead, 2nd and 7. Everything is running perfectly good and fine at this juncture in time. I wasn't too mad about how everything was set up. I didn't really think that my opponent could do anything defensively to stop me, but you never know. You still can make mistakes, a bad play, a blown coverage, things of that magnitude could change the whole complexion of what you're doing. And with 7 points, it's just not enough to be super comfortable to say that, oh, I can make a mistake and get away with it. Because a mistake with 7-point leads could turn into a tie ball game with like a minute to go, and you're like trying to scramble your way in order to make this game a win. And so what I was doing is like, okay, let me try to see what I could do to try to punch it around. And so what I was doing, I was setting up a play, ran a couple of audibles, or basically a dual drag route as well. I was doing against cross, so it's basically like a cross drag is what it would look like on screen. And so I have to, tight ends crossing off the drag. So I actually threw it in the flat, which was the right play. The only wrong thing that I did there was just I didn't shake them off to the right a little bit. But it still ran some time off the clock. I was still in complete control of everything that was going on. So it was 3rd and 3. I had a decision. Do I run? Do I pass? Do I try to go over the top? I know I at least need 7, or at least need 3. 7 will be beautiful. So I went ahead and went to this HB wheel. And the HB wheel, if you're not used to this play, it is definitely a tough play to stop. But it's a good play to execute when you're in a little bit of trouble. So there's a lot of outs. And so what I saw was coverage. And I had one-on-one coverage right down the middle. And you see my boy just skate around, skate around, skate around. And it's a touchdown right there. So we throw the hands up, touchdown. So it was a beautiful play call right there, because as soon as I saw the one man come in man coverage and drop down, the safety dropped down, it was one-on-one. I knew I had a speed advantage, and I just threw the ball right in the gap, and it was good to go. Money play all the way around. That is the single toughest play to stop that I've seen so far. I've seen people do it against me, and it's tough. I've seen myself do it against others, and I'm successful with it too. Not all the time, but more often than not. It is a very tough play to stop that HB wheel out of guns, because you can't really blitz, because you can get the ball off fast. You have a running back who's on the end who can throw the ball to, and you got receivers who can get the ball to running dual crossing routes and stuff. So it's a good play. So right now I kick the ball off, and my thought process is I'm up. I got my 14. Just basically make one stop and go. And so what he was doing, ran the play action like he's been typically doing. And right there, that ball could have been picked up. I was paying a little bit more attention, but at least I got it up in the air, and it actually got tipped down. So it was actually not bad. Not a bad play call at all on his regard. Not a bad play call on my regard. I actually played it right. Cover 2 man against play action was really worked out, because I basically had double coverage if he decided to go deep, and he did. If he would have threw it short, he would have been more successful. And so right here, I was giving him some space to let him go ahead and operate. And so with the space, same thing happened right then. He tried to throw it deep again. I actually gave him space to try to bait him into throwing it short, but he actually threw it deep right into the coverage, and the same result happened. Could have had that ball picked as well, but you can't get too mad at that. You're not going to be picking off balls every single time. If corners can catch balls, they'll be playing receiver and not corner. So it's 3rd down right here, 3rd and 10, and I'm like, okay, cool. And goes over the top, and it should have been picked the 3rd time. Safety comes over the top against his YOLO play. All he had to do was just jump in front of it and grab it. He didn't. It's cool, whatever. It's 4th and 10. I'm up 14. I know he has to go for it. And so my thought was, what do I do? Do I go in man? Do I go in zone? So I kind of went into... I think I went in this particular juncture. I think I went into man to see if I could just slow him up, because I think man was working. And then I gave him space again. Gave him some space to go ahead and operate, see what he could do. And right there, he does the same identical thing 4 times. Tried to YOLO, tried to go deep, man coverage. I have good enough corners. I have Ty Law on one end, as y'all well saw. And it was nothing that you could really do with that. And so right now, I have the ball. And my job is to say, look, I got 14. He tried to make a ditch effort to get back into the game. He didn't. My job is to right now just try to slow the game down. Maybe try to get another 3 just to secure it so nothing crazy happens. But just basically get off of this game, because most people, certain people will play the game out. Certain people would have just ejected. He didn't eject, so I'll give him credit for not ejecting. But in the same sense, I was like, okay, let me just slow the game down. So I ran a running play up the middle. Didn't really work in that particular instance. It's cool. I wasn't tripping off that. And because, even though it was 2nd and 12, I wasn't worried about making a play. I was just worrying about just running clock. So right here, what I was setting up for the toss play right here. And so basically off the power. And so I got the toss play, got around the edge, was running, and he actually stopped me, which actually didn't benefit him too much, because by him actually stopping me, you know, he could have gave up the 7 and have ball, but he stopped me, so it gets into the 2-minute warning, so I could actually slow down clock, which was fine too, because my objective wasn't to really score in that instance. My objective was really just get the first down and maybe just slow him down. I know he had 2 timeouts left, and so I was thinking, oh, maybe I give him to 2-minute warning, maybe punch it in, maybe he calls a couple of timeouts, then he'll get the ball with maybe a minute or so left to play with no timeouts. His game runs out. It's 17-0 at worst, you know, 21 at most. You know, punch it in. I was expecting timeout. He didn't do a timeout, so I was like, wow, no timeouts. So I was like, okay, let me just accelerate the clock and just let it run, because, you know, I didn't have nothing else to do but to let it run. You know, right here, what I should have done was actually sat on the ball. And I didn't sit on the ball. I just actually ran a play, and I shouldn't have, and I actually punched it in. I mean, that was kind of a chump move on my part. I actually should have just sat on the ball. I knew he couldn't do much there. You know, getting the touchdown wasn't going to hurt anything. It wasn't going to help anything. The game was already at hand. I should have just sat on him, make him blow his timeout, and go away. I didn't. That was a chump move on my part. I hate when people do that to me, and I did that to an opponent. So, you know, that was my bad. I shouldn't have done that. That was a chump move on my part. I should have just sat on the ball, kept it rolling. You know, part of it is I saw the 2 timeouts, and I was thinking, oh, he ain't using the timeouts, but it was cool. So it gave him a free offense. It gave him a free chance to offensively do some things. I wasn't really tripping, you know. Kind of part of me was like, dude, do I hold him to the goose egg? Do I let him go ahead and get a 7 back or whatnot? And what does he do? He's off to the races. He's running. But I was like, nah, I can't let him score off a kickoff return. Nobody scored off me off a kickoff return or a punt return yet. Some people have gotten really close. I ain't gonna front, but nobody scored off me like that. So I couldn't let him do it just to give him the 7 back. And so I was like, okay, let's just play some D. I'll play some super conservative D. See what happens, and then we'll just go from there. So with the super conservative D, you know, I was basically playing man and stuff. I was predicting the play action, and so what he did was actually run the ball. Smart move, you know, really smart move to make, but I thought, okay, he's just going to run it and just run the clock out. So I wasn't really tripping. He didn't really call a timeout there, so I wasn't really expecting him to do too much, and we were just, you know, just going through the motions in essence. So I was like, okay, cool. You know, hopefully the clock would just kind of run out, you know. And so I just ran in man. I saw him go 5 wide, so I expect him to at least throw the ball up once, maybe twice, and maybe go YOLO and go from there. And that was kind of as predicted. And if he would have been inbounds, that was a pick, and this game would have been well over. But it wasn't. No harm, no foul. It was a good play call on my part. Bad on his. He shouldn't have thrown it. He should have actually thrown it to someplace short, not in any place deep. And so I'm saying, okay, cool. It's 42 seconds. It's 2nd down. You know, I'm still giving him space. See if he's going to operate. I actually back up. So I figured he's going to try to YOLO me again. And then he got smart. Then he runs the ball. But he's not taking any, you know, he's not calling any timeouts or anything. So I was like, all right, cool. You ain't calling no timeouts. Okay, we'll just run the ball out. I'm just playing super conservative. I wasn't really thinking anything twice about it. And so I was like, okay, let me just call something to maybe just play safe just in case. You know, if he gets it in there, cool. If he doesn't get it in there, it's not going to be no big deal. You know, but I was like, okay, let's let him give him one quick shot. If he lets the clock run out, cool, we go home. And so I set up. I'm in coverage, you know, setting up for the play. You know, I back up just to make sure he's in coverage, and then he runs it again. So I'm like, all right, cool, he's going to run it again. Everything's fine. Then all of a sudden he calls a timeout. I'm like, wait a minute. You ran the ball. You know, you're acting like you didn't care about the score. And so I was like, okay, cool, we run the ball out, game over. He calls a timeout. So I'm like, okay, it's cool, whatever, it's 9 seconds. We'll give him a shot to get in. I mean, I at least owe him that because I did kind of take that 7 earlier. And then he runs the ball again. He runs it into coverage. you know, I basically had a covered stop there. It was nothing he could do. And so I was like, dude, okay, game over. He calls a second timeout to try to get it over the top. So I was like, oh, come on. So, you know, same process. I was like, dude, part of me wanted me just to hold him, and part of me wanted just, I didn't care. And part of me wanted to give him the 7, and part of me wanted to just hold him down. And so I was so, like, kind of, like, torn about it. And what does he do? He throws it up. I have 2 people there, and he actually comes down with the ball. So I was like, wow, is this really how this is going down? It actually went down like that. He actually came down with the ball. But those things happen. That's football. Game was over. 21-7. Everything was good. So that's how it went down. I hope you enjoyed the, you know, coaching myself. So you kind of get a chance to see my insights and thoughts about it. So definitely check in again. We'll be doing more of this again soon. So until the next time, God above everything. We'll do it again soon, family. Until the next time. Salute.